Is this guy a truck driver?
Yeah, he owns a trucking company.
That'd be all the more reason to buy a hot rod, not a truck.
This is gonna be a hot rod. It's got a big cam Cummins in it.
Big cam.
It's got a big cam Cummins.
One would have doubted the success of Vegas Rat Rods, considering the number of other car shows airing across networks. Somehow, the show ended up surpassing our expectations in the long run. No detail was too small for the cast members. They didn't mind stripping down the whole machine and building another creation of wild artistic imagination. Right to say, the show wouldn't have been successful without its formidable cast members. The over-the-top artistic creation the members of the show displayed on the show put them ahead of other similar shows. Fine, Vegas Rat Rods was not the only restoration car show. In fact, there were several others. But the crew members delivered their task in such a way that would have even the dumb screaming. These guys would literally restore the ugliest and rusted cars you would ever see into something unique and incredible. These guys are borderline talented. Seeing them in action was so satisfying to watch. The 5th season of the show was expected to premiere in 2020, but was later canceled. Until now, the producers of the show have not confirmed or denied the cancellation of the show. We hope they come out to say something soon. We sure miss seeing these guys on TV. While the producers are yet to give any critical feedback, how about we talk about the crew members of the Vegas Rat Rods and where they are now? Okay, let's dig in. Steve Darnell. Vegas Rat Rods is Steve Darnell's brainchild as it follows a pattern of Welder Up, Steve's restoration garage. The love for cars isn't something Steve stumbled upon, it has been there from his early years. He surprisingly learned how to drive a stick at the tender age of 7. Who would have thought anyone would do that at that age? That person can only be Steve. According to him, his grandfather greatly influenced him. Each time he visited his grandfather in Utah, he would sit Steve on his lap in his truck, letting him drive the truck. Also, Steve's father was an iron worker who subsequently established his own steel company. During summer, Steve would visit his father's company, watching and learning different skills. Through observation, he learned how to operate forklifts and fix equipment. After gathering money from mowing lawns, he bought a redline bicycle he restored and sold for $300. He used the proceeds to buy a 1973 Datsun as his first car. Before he graduated high school, he had used 4 different cars because he would buy a car, fix it, and then sell it again, and the cycle kept going. Gradually, Steve began to make cool money from revamping cars and bikes, attracting the attention of his high school coach, who later asked him to build a bike he would give his daughter as a Christmas gift. Steve did a fantastic job, and the bike was passed down to the daughter's kid. He was already established in the job by the time he finished high school, working for his father, and then found his business called Welder Up. Before he knew it, he was building rat rods for fun. Later, he did a burnout that was posted on YouTube for the church. The video amassed lots of views, attracting the Canadian production, which later ran the series Vegas Rat Rods, bringing Steve into the limelight. Steve teamed up with other delectable team members to give us one-of-a-kind rat rod fabrications ever graced TV. Sadly, the show stopped airing in 2018 for no known reasons. Meanwhile, it will interest those who miss seeing Steve on TV to know he is fine and kicking. He's still creating rat rods in a video series called Welder Up, Make It Run Again, where he repairs and brings old cars back to life alongside his mechanic Merlin. Welder Up also has a YouTube page where he fixes cars. The page has successfully accumulated millions of views. Twiggy Talons. The endearing TV star was sure a huge fan favorite. She must have been the reason why some viewers tuned in. The Canadian-born star never saw herself becoming a star before featuring on the show. For her, it was just plain love for automotive and nothing else. Despite sounding knowledgeable about automobiles on the show, it will interest you to know that she had no deep-rooted knowledge of the automotive industry before coming on the show. She worked as a model and actress before Vegas Rat Rods happened to her. It was the passion she had that spurred her curiosity, leading to her ace her newly found role as a fabricator. She was the only woman on the show before Shanae subsequently replaced her. Being the only woman on the show toughened her up more, no doubt. It was hard to see her exit the show in 2017 after she posted on Instagram that she would leave the show to get her welding ticket. She left the Lacuna after leaving with all the detailed craftsmanship, but we are happy to see that she has moved on to more incredible things. Despite leaving the show, her affinity for automotive is still there. When you visit her Instagram page, you'd see that most of her recent projects have a touch of her passion for automotive. We recently noticed she takes delight in posting motivational and inspirational nuggets on her Instagram account. Even though it doesn't seem like she'll grace our screens anytime soon, we are confident she'd give us a show as she always has. Justin Kramer. Justin is the youngest member of the show. The native of Pahrump, Nevada, already developed an interest in rendering at the age of 13, which explains the mastery he displayed while on the show. Justin revealed his love for welding started after discovering his grandmother's welder. Out of curiosity, he picked up the welder and tried to work on the barn. From there on, his interest transformed into a full-blown job. Justin is so good at what he does, so much that he was dubbed a master welder. He welds every type of metal into various designs. He also builds the suspension and chassis for the show. Aside from being a part of the crew members, Justin is an ex-brother-in-law to Steve Darnell, the owner of Welder Up and a cast member of Vegas Rat Rod star. In 2016, he married Samantha Kramer. Blessed with 3 daughters, Justin has been able to keep his life away from the public prying eyes as not so much is known of him. He's estimated to be worth $1 million. Not so much, but enough to give his family a decent life. Merlin Johnson. Merlin has always been a whiz kid since time immemorial. He single-handedly armed a go-kart with the 175cc engine as a 7-year-old kid. His wizard-like expertise on the show is extraordinary. Merlin Johnson's passion took wings after meeting Steve Darnell at a car show. That meeting would change his life forever. From there on, he has inspired the young generation of auto enthusiasts. Johnson fully displayed his 40 years of experience in automobiles and restoration as a critical member of Vegas Rat Rods. Everyone who followed the show is definitely aware of his top-notch specialty in turbo diesel motors, particularly the 12-valve Cummins. Cheyenne Ruther. She worked as the show's auto body technician. Cheyenne was featured on the show to replace the Canadian fabricator Twiggy. As the only female on the team, she grew accustomed to being an oddity in no time. Her dislike for 9-to-5 jobs largely influenced the dexterity she displayed on the show. Meanwhile, the career shift had become difficult for her at some point, owing to the fact that she had to work for longer hours. It was necessary for her to double up her skills to avoid being relegated to performing just typical girl roles in the male-dominated trade. The effort she directed into the work truly did magic for her. She worked alongside other cast members to churn out sick cars. Chase and Cash Darnell. These 2 guys are not just Steve's sons, they equally left an indelible mark on the show. One of the significant reasons why Steve pushed for the show is to inspire fathers to build a formidable relationship with their sons. To Steve, there is no better way to do that than the garage over rat rods. Steve was not just a campaigner for a healthy father and son relationship, he acted out his words when his sons were featured on the show. Both Chase and Cash started building bikes at an early age. They caught up fast in no time. They began to create metal fabrications out of their rich imaginations. Safe to say, like father, like son. In case you've been wondering about their future plans, here it is. Their father has revealed Chase and Cash would inherit his business since he won't be able to work forever. The boys will carry on his legacy, and that's a good thing. Dave Leffler. Although we didn't see much of him in the show as a part-timer, for those periods he was on the show, he acted like the goofball every other person needed. Well, not being a full-timer meant that he didn't perform so many tasks, and he constantly had to work twice as much as the others to prove himself. He did most of the upholstery works with the needed precision. Not so much is known of him aside from his intermittent appearance on the show, but we believe he's doing great wherever he is presently. We still can't stop wondering why the show stopped despite this array of talents. We genuinely hope the producers will address the issue soon enough. So, let's hope the show hasn't ended. Or has it?